We're back with Christine Trujillo. She is from District 25, and we're talking to her about education. And I think we covered a few things there in the past.
Right,
There, I was talking to you about the fact that we have a huge dropout rate and stuff, and you had mentioned that we can target them right about 6th or 8th, right in that age group there. Aside from the economics, I know there's other issues that come up as far as why kids drop out. And I think during the break, I was telling you my own story about there's some childhood issues there sometimes. Do you think we should go individually? Do we even have the expenditure for something like that, where we go in, where a teacher sits down, we say a group of 3 and try to figure out why they're weak in math or why they're weak in sciences?
Well,
is that too expensive, you think?
It's an expensive endeavor, but if we want to stop those dropout rates from
and that
rising,
would be the ultimate goal, I think,
that
to stop
would be
the
the goal.
dropout. Yeah.
And I truly believe that children need to be, you know, there's so many kids in schools and so much little time, and so many school counselors and advisors that are overwhelmed. I mean, that's their task, really. Most teachers take on that task as well, but the numbers are huge. And I think that students really need one-to-one counseling to make a determination on why they feel that the rest of school isn't the right pathway for them. I'm a high school dropout, and one of the reasons that I dropped out had nothing to do with the fact that I was doing poorly in school. They were familial matters. And as I talk to students in high schools and mid schools, you know, I ask them what their goals are, and a lot of them really don't know. They don't have those kinds of conversations with their own families. College never enters the conversation.
It never comes, yeah.
Some kids, you know, in like career technical programs, don't want to go to an academic college, but they do want to go to a community college to get a degree or a certification, a specific skill. The dilemma for us is that we lose them because we don't have consistent conversations with them about what they're going
So there's
to
not
need.
enough mentoring there.
There isn't enough mentoring.
So
but before we throw in a bunch of professionals in the classroom, we have to recognize that you have to talk to kids a certain way. And it's just like that issue where people thought if we brought in business people without any education expertise, that they were going to spew flowery words and
then it would change.
It would change everything.
It doesn't really affect.
No, because there's a lot more to actually teaching and learning than just articulating how wonderful your job was. I mean, if you lose those kids and they're hanging from the rafters and you're totally oblivious to it, it doesn't matter how skilled you are. You have to engage those kids in order to do that. And to me, it's intrinsic. Not everybody can teach. It's an artful skill. It's got to be.
Do you think they should lower the retirement age, or is that sufficient right now?
The retirement
age for teachers. You think should lower it?
Oh,
Because what the idea behind it is, and some has mentioned that I've had some come on the show and say, well, if you lower the retirement age, you'll bring in fresh teachers in that will be more motivated and things like that.
I
that
think
is something that's debatable, right?
Oh, it's very debatable because look, as long as you can move forward and create the environment where instruction and dialogue goes on, that's meaningful.
Well, you see the point behind what that argument is, that if you lower it, then you're bringing a whole lot of fresh people in there rather than people that are that teacher burnout factor.
No, but then you lose all that consistency and that experience as well. And so there is a fine balance. For me, let me give you an example. Bringing in Teach for America teachers and then leaving them in a classroom for 2 years does the district nothing. It does the student nothing. It sounds like it's a real, and people are caught up on bringing in Teach for America teachers that have good intentions, but are not sticking around long enough to do the right thing. And it's unfortunate for the kids and the communities that they teach in, because it's a quick turnaround of young, experienced teachers that are not willing to invest in the community and stay in a place for a long time. So I have an issue with that particular program. And and it helps the district. They don't have to pay for longevity, right?
Correct, exactly.
But the issue for me is making sure that you have committed teachers, and you can't keep them committed and engaged if you blame them for all the ills of the world. And that's what's happening in public education. They've become the perfect villains for anything and everything that is wrong with the world.
And a lot of the legislation, we were talking about that earlier too, is done by individuals who have no idea what teaching is about.
Absolutely.
I'm not knocking anybody in particular. It's a generalized statement that I'm making there. And when you look at the legislation regarding education, it should come via teachers. So I think
totally
they should
agree.
talk to a lot of teachers as far as, well, what do you think about this and that? Maybe have town halls and stuff, invite maybe 500 teachers there and let them give their input. I don't think we talk enough with teachers. We don't ever sit down with them. And this is great for me. I'm learning so much about what you're saying and stuff. And love to have educators. Let's change gears. I know you worked on HB 83, I think, you on a nursing
Yes.
legislation. Let's talk a little briefly before we have to end the program there.
Well, I carried the bill for safe staffing levels in hospitals in the state of New Mexico, and the reason that I did that was because there are some serious issues occurring in hospitals that are refusing to provide the number of nurses that are required to be on a shift at a certain time. And what's happening is that you have lack of care for those patients when you don't do that, and hospitals are cutting costs by short shrifting, I think, in my opinion, the nursing staffs. So what nurses came to me and they asked me what I could, if I would help them create some kind of legislation to show the community in the hospitals that they needed to create a safe staffing pattern. And unfortunately, the medical industry, the hospital industry.
This has to do with the New Affordable Care Act? Do you think that has something to do with that?
No, it didn't have anything to do with that.
This is a separate issue entirely.
It's a separate issue entirely, because what was happening, nurses were being forced to work out of their own skill levels. Emergency nurses were having to do surgical stuff and a variety of things, and patients were being left to wait for a long period of time for support. So we're trying to make headway with that bill, but there's an issue with opponents on that.
I think so. We'll have you back. Okay, yeah, I love talking to you about education stuff. It was a lot of information there. I'm glad you came. Thank you for your taking time out of the campaign, coming on our show. Okay?
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
We'll have you back. I want you to come back.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Thank you for watching. That was Christine Trujillo, and she's from District 25. And we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.